This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah.
500,000.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Call this meeting to session on this Friday, November 19th, the year of the Lord 2021. I'd like to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Got it back here now.
To
To the flag of the United States of
America, and to the republic for which it
America, one nation,
stands, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Then, right now that we're dealing with a lot of different issues in our respective communities. Currently in El Paso, close to 3,000 new COVID cases have occurred over the last CDC week. Our hospitals are starting to fill up again. Just want to have a moment of silence for those who are still struggling, for those who are going through it, and encourage everybody to take those very safe and responsible precautions like washing our hands and keeping our masks on and being aware of how many people we're around when we're going inside. So. Thank you. All right.
Yes.
Do we have a roll call and determination of a quorum?
Yes, we do have a roll call if possible, if Sheriff Wiles and Representative Nell, if you're able to have your cameras on, that'd be great. And yes, we're at a roll call of 12.
Okay, great. Do we have an approval of the minutes of the previous meeting?
So moved.
This is Leon, second.
I did. Okay. Do we have a first and a second?
Third person, second. First by.
From Mayor Webb and second from Commissioner Leon.
Okay, great. Is there any questions at this time? Okay, hearing none, call the question. All in favor?
Yo.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? All right. You also need to do the October 15th as well.
No, we already did those, so
Okay.
we're just on public comments.
So we'd like to enter into public comments at this time. Is there anybody that is signed up or would like to speak in public comment?
We can go ahead and move on to agenda
Okay.
item 1 if you'd like.
All right, agenda item 1.
Yes, so we're changing it up just a bit, everyone. We're doing this hybrid meeting, so we're going to be presenting from the desk here, so from the table. The first agenda item is the requesting approval from Board of Directors to accept the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy document, and this is for 21 through 25. And the purpose of the SEDS, as we call it, is to contribute to effective economic development in all of America's communities and regions through a locally based, regionally driven economic development planning process. This is a requirement under the Economic Development Administration that we do receive funding from their agency for a planning grant. And this is one of the deliverables that we're required to produce. And I don't believe that we have these individuals on the meeting today, but we were able to accomplish this through quite a bit of assistance from our local community's input, various steering committees, and specifically we were able to work with Omar Martinez, Griselda Martinez, no relation, but those two individuals are the ones who really put together this document. We also had Insight Consultancy from Rosalinda Natividad. She was gracious enough in providing us in kind as well to help us with this process where she was interviewing key stakeholders to gather the information. And I think more than any other time, this document has been really important for our key stakeholders because it's being used to apply for funding to Economic Development Administration through the Build Back Better program. So we were able to assist in that effort with the most recent applications for, we had MCA applying for the Build Back Better, we had the UTEP collaboration for aerospace, and then here at the Council of Governments, we did apply also for a variety of industries within the rural area. So if it's possible, I would like to ask for consideration for approval of this document, and then we will then send that information on to EDA to inform them that it has been approved by the board.
I so move to approve.
Second.
Okay. So we do have a motion from Commissioner Evans and a second from Mayor Webb.
All right. Is there any questions or discussion at this time?
Just a real quick comment. I think that layout, it's, I like pictures, so that's always.
Yes.
good, you know,
Yes.
good Pictures.
Yes, sir.
I like, the layout. It's rural as well as.
Thank you.
I like it a lot.
Appreciate it. And we will be sending these out. So hopefully you don't get too many of them, but we'll be sending them out to our chambers. And even though we emailed out this document, those who are virtual, we will mail you a hard copy as well.
Is there any other comments as well? I do want to state that I think that a lot of these make a lot of sense. We're already seeing these grassroots already take off in the key areas of aerospace with Blue Origin, Spaceport America, and a regional international presence in our community. And we're also seeing concrete steps with tourism, not just arts-related tourism in the Marfa and Fort Davis corridor, as well as Alpine, but also with heritage tourism, with concrete steps taken by the county and the city, as well as the city making concrete inroads with ecotourism, with over close to 2,000 acres of open space dedicated to be preserved in perpetuity, with conservation easements in El Paso, in the city of El Paso, as well as numerous trailheads added over the last 5 years as well. So I think this builds on a lot of what we're already seeing with our different partners. So very exciting news.
Yeah.
And with that, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Agenda item 2.
Let's see. Okay. So if possible, Representative Manello and Sheriff Wiles and Governor Silvas, if you can have your camera on, that'd be really appreciated. Make sure we stay in compliance.
Hey, Annette, it's not letting me for some reason. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. Governor Silvas, how about you?
Yes, I'm trying as well. It's not letting me turn on my camera, so let me keep trying.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Keep going. Okay. All right. Well, then agenda item 3, this is the requesting board approval to allow administration to enter into a contract with WSP USA. This is for the purpose of this engineering firm to serve as our technical consultant for the Region E Water Planning Group. And if approved, the contract will commence today, and it will terminate August 31st of 2026. The initial amount of the contract is $100,852, but over the 5-year period, the amount will increase. This last 5-year cycle, I think the amount came up to just short of $1 million. And so we do have Mayor Webb, who serves on our water planning group. And so she is very well aware of the work that they do. And it feels like we just finished our plan, but here we go again for another 5 years. So I can answer any questions if there are any for me regarding this contract. And just for everyone's information, we already have entered into contract with Water Development Board, so we do have these funds available to us.
I might add that they have worked with us. I think that they do a really great job. They were previously LBG. Am I saying it right? LBG. But it's the same consultant that worked on our last plan is moving over into this plan, and they do a really good job for us. They talk about the water projects that we need to have moving forward for all of our communities, like New Wells and Presidio County, stuff for Valentine, stuff for Jeff Davis. So these are really important to our communities. And this company's done a really great job for us. So I'd make a motion to.
Okay.
Great. We have a motion and a second. Is there anybody that has any comments or questions at this time?
There we go. Okay.
If at some point, maybe getting on Commissioner's Court agendas, just to go ahead and give us an update, kind of as far as what we're doing with the new plan and kind of going into the new cycle. That perhaps maybe this spring kind of touch base.
I agree. Yes, sir.
That'd be all. Thank you. Maybe have a meeting now.
We are scheduled to have our February meeting in Alpine.
That would be
Yes,
handy.
sir. Thank you.
Is there anybody else that has any comments or questions at this time? Okay, hearing none, I'd like to call the question. All in favor?
Yo.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Next item.
Okay, we're all about Water Development Board today. This is an amendment to a current contract that we have with Water Development Board. This is for the flood planning effort. So this is a complementary program to the water planning. And so they're in their, this is the first cycle of this initiative, and the legislature did appropriate additional monies to all of the flood planning regions. And so we are looking at another $666,000 with 400. And that amount, if allowed, will be amended into the contract. And then we will, in January, present you with an amended contract between the Rio Grande Council of Governments and our technical consultant, AECOM, for the flood planning initiative. Are there any questions for me?
All right, no question. Is there a motion to approve?
Yes.
Second?
No, we need a motion. I said.
Okay. So we'd
I
like to
move.
make
Also move.
a second?
Second.
All right. Any questions or comments at this point?
Okay.
All right, hearing none, call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Next item.
All right, so this agenda item is a bit unorthodox because we do not have a grant application to present to you to request for approval. But what I'm asking is if the board would allow for administration to submit a tourism application to the Economic Development Administration under their Build Back Better program in December of 2021. And so we are working with several communities. We have Alpine, we have Marfa, Presidio. We also have the Fort Davis Chamber of Commerce. And what they're wanting to do is to apply for funding to create a mobile app to create points of interest. And if this is going to be funded, then the way that they would sustain the program is they would charge the entities who have points a certain dollar amount to assist with the maintenance and effort of that mobile application. And so the way that we're looking at receiving the matching monies is through their hot funds. And with their hot funds, they're advertising their areas for tourism. And so we anticipate that that funding that they use for the promotion of tourism will be used for the matching of the application. So we do not see that any of these communities will have to provide additional funding through anyone's general revenue. It'll be funds that are specifically allocated from their hot funds program. And so thank you, Representative DeVetta. I'm so sorry. I know you had 2 meetings. So I'm sorry about that.
No, I apologize. I'm here now. Thank you. Thank y'all for being patient.
Representative Schwarzbein say anything to you. So if allowed, what we'll do is we'll present this application once it's complete to the officers. So that would be Representative Schwarzbein, Mayor Webb, and Representative DeVetta for them to review the application to determine its completeness and appropriateness before we submit to EDA. So that's the ask.
So I'm just curious, it would be a tourism app that's focused on which areas?
On the 5 rural areas. So we would not include El Paso at this time, but that doesn't mean that El Paso can be included later on in terms of points of interest. But their focus would be Brewster, Culberson, Hudspeth, Jeff Davis, and Presidio.
I mean, I think it's a good idea. I mean, one of the things that coming from the perspective of the city is that we're really looking at trying to utilize Destination El Paso and focus on ecotourism from a regional perspective and utilizing El Paso as a hub. If somebody's going into Big Bend, if somebody's going up to Fort Davis or Marfa or the like, chances are they're either not really thinking too straight, they're driving out from Austin, or they're coming into the El Paso airport. And so we're trying to utilize and focus on ecotourism as an economic driver in the region as well. So I'm fine with doing it, but I really think that there needs to be the best kind of way for this is to have that kind of collaboration amongst different areas and organizations as well, especially with something focusing on tourism, which, you know, Far West Texas has an abundance of ecotourism amenities.
And what we could do is, and the reason why we're asking for this specific timeline is because we will not have a board of directors meeting in December. I do not think that it's necessary for us to have this one agenda item for approval. But because EDA reviews the applications, everything that's submitted by the end of that month will be reviewed the following month. So we don't want to wait until January, because then that means we'll have to wait till February. And these funds are available until funds have been expended. So we're working hard to try to get it in December, so that at least we have them to review in January. What we can do, Representative Schwartzman, is I can reach out to Destination El Paso, present the application to them to see if there's interest in them joining on the application as well.
Yeah, I would think them and also probably representatives from Parks and Rec. Ben Fife was one that's been taking the lead alongside Brian Crow. They had a sort of cross-functional team with Parks and Rec, the Museum and Cultural Affairs Department, as well as Destination El Paso, that all looked at it. And I think maybe for the future as well, having that presentation that council received might be a good thing to also have be presented here as part of a future agenda. For the Rio Grande Council of Governments, just to get a sense of kind of what El Paso is thinking about and what we already have here within our backyard. I mean, we all know we got really, really big backyards here in West Texas and far West Texas and far West Texas. There's El Paso. So,
Yes.
You know, I think it's always good when the right hand knows what the left hand is doing and vice versa.
We can definitely do all those things. We can reach out to them.
Is there a predetermined amount of the hot funds percentage?
So right now we're thinking that maybe $15,000 to $20,000 per community, but that would be where you've already allocated those monies for your advertising. So the only tweak that you would need to do per se is that you're promoting the app. So you're going to add that into your magazine. So it was very important for all of us to ensure that we weren't trying to ask for additional funds, knowing how strained all of the budgets are.
That was my concern.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
So as far as the grant itself, and then, do you have any idea what kind of money is going to be asked for, or what kind of money is available? I know it's still a moving target, but
In terms of the funding, we're initially it was about $130,000, and I know it may sound strange, but that's a bit too modest for EDA. We wanted to look at some other opportunities to build it up, and so I think that we might be going somewhere closer to about 200,000. And there will also be an opportunity for, I'm waiting for the participants to tell me what their comfort zone is, but they could also possibly look at having the Council of Governments fund a coordinator to assist with this effort and to gather the individuals and to see what kind of regional approaches can be made for tourism. So I think that's the most important thing to point out, is that everyone was looking at this in a way of how can we do it together as opposed to me. And so I think everyone's trying to see how they can stretch their dollars farther.
Move to approve.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Is there any comments or questions at this time, Representative Rivera? All right. Hearing none, call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you very much. Next item.
Yes, I'm going to have Marisa sit here now. She's going to give her agenda items for regional services. Oops, if I don't fall down.
Good morning, Board of Directors. Marisa Quintanilla, Regional Services Director. Wanted to go ahead and request board approval on fiscal year 22 El Paso Dispute Resolution Center Council membership and resolution affirming the council's composition. On your agenda item, you do have the members of the DRC Council, the Dispute Resolution Center. If you all recall, this program in particular provides services, mediation services to El Pasoans. So you do have the composition here. I'm not sure if Judge Herrera has joined us. He is our incoming chair for the DRC for this fiscal year. As you can see, we do have the Honorable Carlos Leon, Honorable Sue Curita. We also have, I'm sorry, there you go. We also have the Honorable Jesus Rodriguez, Honorable Judge Herrera, Honorable Victor Salas, Honorable Joe Gonzalez. We do also have Mr. Bishop, Joel Bishop from the County Administrative. We have Mr. Brian Stanley from the Domestic Relations Office. From Juvenile Probation, we have Ms. Linda Garcia. We do have a citizen at large, which is Mr. Ronnie. We do have one of our mediator attorneys, Mr. Martinez, as well as a pro bono mediator, Ms. Celia Torres. So Judge Herrera, were you able to jump on? I know that there was another meeting that he was chairing. Nope. Okay. So requesting approval to accept the membership as presented and resolution for FY22 for the El Paso Dispute Resolution Center.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Representative Rivera. Is there a second?
This is Leon, second.
Thank you, Commissioner Leon. We have a item in a second. Is there any comments, questions, or concerns at this time? Okay, thank you, Representative Rivera, for moving the item, and we'll call a question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Next item.
Next agenda item is requesting board approval to allow Rio Grande Council of Governments to enter into an intro local agreement with El Paso County by and through El Paso County Sheriff's Office in the amount of $154,000. The purpose of this agreement is to provide regional law enforcement training within the region. Ms. Diana Valdez, our legal counsel, has reviewed the agreement as presented. Behind your agenda item, you do have the executive summary as well as the agreement.
Motion to approve. This is a
Thank
good
you.
one.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we got a second from Judge Evans. I would like to see if there's any comments or questions at this time. All right, hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. Next item.
Right. Board of Directors approval is requested to allow the Council of Governments to submit the 2022 to 2024 Regional Solid Waste Management Plan and resolution affirming the development of the Regional Solid Waste Management Plan for the Rio Grande Council of Governments to the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality for review and approval. Behind the agenda item, you do have the resolution as well as the plan. We do have Ms. Ellen Smite. We do have Ellen Smite on it.
Yeah.
And one of the things when you do look at the plan, there was an addition to goal 3, objective 3A, and that's page 4 of the plan, asking to consider the wordage at the end through through the private and public partnership. So currently that objective reads development of a regional scrap tire collection and disposal contract, and the addition would be through private and public partnership. I'll lean on Ms. Smite to provide further comment regarding the development and public notices, public meetings that we have regarding the plan.
So good morning, everyone. This is Ellen Smythe, I'm Managing Director of Environmental Services. And I apologize, I'm not there in person, but like Representative Rivera, we had the MPO meeting this morning as well. So I hope you've all had an opportunity to, can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Everyone's had an opportunity to read through the document. This document is a 20-year master plan. It's required by TCEQ. The last one that was put together by the COG was in 2000. So it was 2000 to basically 2020. This one's going to carry us through 2040. And as many master plans, it's really difficult to see the future, especially 20 years from now. It's a long, long, long time. But based on the developments across the country, the new technology, moving forward, waste to energy or gas, recycling, medical waste, all of these various issues, transportation, we've tried to incorporate all of those potential goals into this document. And it is a living document. We probably will be updating it every 5 years. So it's not like a big chunk after 20 years, but every 5 years we'll be able to look at the document and make adjustments accordingly. Just like any other master plan, it really doesn't do any good unless we keep it alive with the reality of what each one of us is facing. So I don't know, like I said, I'm not there. So if y'all have any specific questions, it was approved last week or earlier this week by the committee, the Solid Waste Advisory Committee, for recommendation to the full board.
Is there an urgent need to approve this at this time?
Yes, we have to submit this document to TCEQ by January, sir.
By January?
Mhm.
We could be having a December meeting?
No, we will not.
So this is the final meeting that we have?
That is correct.
Is there something that you feel isn't addressed here, or?
I just feel it would make sense to be able to have a little bit more time for the full body to review this item.
We did have a consultant to provide the quality review, and then also with the partnership of the SWAC members to include a heavy lift from the environmental services from the city of El Paso with Ellen's team, as well as with Mr. Nick Ibarra, were instrumental in getting the data that we needed to go ahead and revise this plan. There's a lot of data in terms of tonnage and so forth, and open landfills that we have that just came on board, so those were included. But this was a huge collaboration with the SWAC members, as well as City of El Paso, and then our consultant, NextGen.
Representative, what we could do is offer individual briefings like we do over at the City of El Paso whenever we have an agenda item coming up. Although, and based on those briefings, I don't know when TCEQ is going to meet formally for the approval, but perhaps we could do a floor modification or something like that if there's any glaring gaps that are discovered at that time. But honestly, we have been working on this document for the entire year, and we've received input from all of the members. We sent out questionnaires which each one of the member agencies were able to fill in the blanks on what their solid waste situation is currently, what their hopes and dreams would be over the next years. But if anyone on this board would like an individual briefing, I'm happy to provide that at your convenience. We could just schedule it into your whatever works for you, and allow this group to go forward with their submittal to TCEQ so they don't miss their deadline. And like I said, I don't know if it's able to do like an amendment if we do find something we'd like to add or change. I have to leave that up to staff.
Right, and I believe we can do amendments after the submittal. I think that we did hear back from our representatives from Fort Bliss that they wanted to go ahead and add an addendum So it was already too late to include that addendum from Fort Bliss into this plan. But the consensus from the group was to go ahead, and after this plan was approved by TCQ, we can go ahead and submit addendums to this plan. And so we can do that, Representative, if you would like.
Yeah, I mean,
Chair, can I be?
yes, Representative.
Mr. Quintanilla, it can also be brought to our attention by the TCQ if anything is incorrect. And they would have to, at that point, they would give us an opportunity to correct it if necessary, right?
That's correct. If they have some additional feedback, they would send the plan back to us for revisions and updates, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Chair, I think that the work has been covered. I believe that we should just go ahead and approve it now. If anything comes back, they'll bring it back to the COG, and at that point, the board can take a look at it, sir. But I believe that everything's been done to get this document as close as or as required to get it passed. So I make a motion to approve.
So yeah, so I guess we have a motion and a second. My question really is an important document like this. I think it's important to
Yes.
be able to be briefed. And one of the underlying things about the document is that the city of El Paso is one of the major partners here. It's a document till 2042. Our contract with Friedman Recycling ends, I believe, 2030. And I think that there's, the world of recycling has shifted dramatically since 2018 with China changing their rules and regulations towards accepting recycling and refuse from the United States. And so what I'm looking for is looking at what sort of regional relationship that we have, whether that's recycling through Mexico or Latin America, and how that would impact it, especially when you're talking about a 20-year cycle and a 20-year master plan. So those are some of the things that I have, in terms of being able to approve it at this point. I mean, the fact that there's an addendum that's coming from Fort Bliss already shows that this document is, as final as it is, it's still very much a working document. And I hope that some of those questions that I have right now could be addressed by staff and others in terms of looking at strengthening this.
Right. So let me speak to the contract with the Friedmans. It does expire in 2030, but they are also the providers for the Santa Fe Albuquerque area, and the Albuquerque contracts expires next year. And they've been in negotiations with Friedmans to update their technology. This original contract was signed in 2006 and went into effect in 2007. So you can imagine over the last 14 years how far the technology has come on, just artificial intelligence and electronic eye sorting and magnetic technology. And so clearly our facility here in El Paso is behind the curve, absolutely. And so there is the Friedman Corporation suffered an enormous fire in Phoenix 2 months ago. You may have seen it in the news. It was the largest fire ever documented in the history of Phoenix. And they took a considerable hit on the damage that was done during that incident. So there's a lot going on with that corporation just individually, aside from what Representative Schwartzfein is talking about in the market generally. So we absolutely are trying to meet with them and have more commitments or a contract amendment so that we in this region are not left behind on what's going on with the rest of the market. So it is a huge concern of mine as well that I'm working on.
Is that concern reflected in this document?
I'm not sure that it's specifically annotated as a Friedman issue and a city issue, but generally speaking, advancing the recycling markets, looking for additional, quite frankly, local markets, trying to invest in the clusters that we're talking about at some of our airport property, maybe, or luring in businesses that would be more local, where we don't have to ship it. We can use the end product more quickly. All of that's in this document as a 20-year vision.
Yeah, because I mean, I think that there's really an untapped opportunity with that. We all are sort of on this island out here in West Texas and far West Texas, El Paso and southern New Mexico. There's really nobody else close to us to deal with it. And so there's an opportunity where we can really go and think strategically like a 20-year master plan should about how to address some of these recycling challenges, but also opportunities to have it exist within our ecosystem.
Right. And actually, there's a conversation going on right now on the staff level with two different companies. One would be to take materials straight into Mexico, and the other one would be to capture the methane gas production at the landfill for energy production, because the whole sustainable energy is a big topic of, very important goal for this administration.
Okay.
If I can add also, I know that there's been talks with some of our rural jurisdictions in having a transfer station, a regional landfill in Culberson County. So instead of having jurisdictions having to, be on their own, have a regional landfill and transfer station as well. So those are some of the activities that are embedded into this plan as well.
Well, I look forward to learning more about this, maybe being any other addendums that need to be brought up in addition with the forklift one.
Right, and we'll bring those up.
Great, thanks. Is there any comments or questions at this time? Representative Rivera, your mic's on. Okay, so you want to vote. Okay, so then we can call the question again as first by Representative Rivera, seconded by Representative Anello. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and just for everyone's information, like Melissa said, City of El Paso did a significant lift, and we would not be able to have completed the plan without their assistance. So thank you again. So on these next agenda items, we just have, there's no activity on Area Agency on Aging. Under Executive Director's Report, has been too long since the last time we met, so I don't have any new items to report for you all for this meeting. So Representative Schwartzwein, I can turn it over to you for the President's Report if there's anything you would like to add.
No, I mean, at this point, I mean, I just think, we're entering into Thanksgiving season with everybody. I hope everybody's, family stays safe and secure where they are. And in El Paso, we're opening up the Winterfest. It's going to be the first time in almost 2 years. We have our traditional tree lighting in downtown El Paso, Jacinto Plaza, with an ice skating rink and a lot of vendors and free movies and everything that's there. So if you are thinking about coming in over the holidays, it's a great opportunity here as well. I'll be going through the beginning of January as well. I know Representative Rivera is particularly excited about it. And we'll be, for those that are sticking around over the weekend, we're going to be actually doing the Christmas tree lighting tomorrow. Specifically start at 4 to 5:30. And if you're parked out by the UTEP area, you don't want to deal with downtown traffic, you can park at the parking garage over there by the Don Haskins on Oregon and Glory Road and take our streetcar down as well. And that's all for free. And that should be going on, but Representative Rivera is quite excited.
Mr.
Yes,
Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Leon.
Yeah, thank you. Just a note, I may have missed it, but as the President's infrastructure program gets going, I mentioned this in Commissioner's Court, that we look into, there's a lot of funding coming into our region, that we assure ourselves that we have some sort of game plan, that we go after some of that funding that will become available for this entire region. Did we discuss that earlier and I may have missed it, Annette?
No, sir, we didn't have that as an agenda item, but we can bring it up in January. And I know that several of the communities have already been identifying grant administrators, projects for their ARPA funds. And so with the infrastructure bill just being passed, obviously there's going to be more opportunities there as well. So we'll bring a report back to you in January for that.
I think you bring a great point, Representative Leon. We just saw the House today pass the Build Back Better, a scaled down version, but a great version nonetheless. And so by January, we could see not just the bipartisan infrastructure bill being passed, but also the Build Back Better bill as well. So yeah, I think that would be a great item coming up as well for January.
And I do think that I think there could be some opportunities also in terms of once the communities have identified what projects they want to administer, if there's any sorts of ways that they could partner in those efforts, whether it's through their engineering services or things of that nature, we can definitely look at that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Great point, Commissioner. Great point.
Question. The COG was trying to get into grant administering. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that something that you guys are still pursuing?
Yes, we have not. What we did was we partnered with another consulting firm to assist with their efforts. We have not submitted one on our own completely yet. And so I know the opportunities are kind of closing a little bit, but we still have some opportunities to submit. So we're looking at doing that.
So does that mean that the COG can then help communities with that?
Yes.
With the grant administering?
Yes.
We just need to, okay.
Yes, we can. And then, and so also just under announcements, just a reminder, we do have our board of directors meeting coming up. I think this setup worked out well. It definitely works out well for the employees because we made them go home. They're working from home this day because we wanted to make sure we had as much internet usage as possible, and so that might be the same setup if our internet is not at the level yet, but we are making our upgrades, and so we should have that ready by January. But hopefully everybody thought that this was a well-received meeting. It worked out well, and so we'll do the same again at the January 21st meeting. Yes, for those of you who are in the virtual world, was the sound appropriate? Everything was okay in terms of you being able to hear what we had to say?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it's actually very good this time.
All right, great. Great. We will not talk about that other entity. Okay. All right. Well then,
Is there any other?
When is the next meeting again, please?
the next meeting will be January 21st at 10 a.m.
January
Okay,
20.
you put 2021 on there.
Oh, I did. I'm so sorry. Yes, we're going backwards in time. I'm sorry. January 21st, 2022. Yes, sir.
Judge Cano?
Thank you, man.
Last thing on my end, this weekend is the art walk. Well, that's all of the vendors. They come, the galleries are all open and a lot of new ones pop up overnight, which is fine. We'll take their money. But yeah, it starts this evening, goes through Sunday. But yeah, a lot of local vendors, good food, some free booze, not too much, but enough to get you started. So
Slightly different than Winterfest.
yes, a little bit a smaller version, but it's always a good thing. Anyway, if you guys are happy to be out in our neck of the woods, please stop by and take up some of the local art. It's always a good thing. That's it.
That's really great. So that's really great stuff. Good news and welfare. Anybody else have anything? Anybody going to share their special stuffing recipe at this time? Started secrets, and no matter what town or county you live in. So everybody be safe over this holiday season. It's really a beautiful thing that we're able to share the time. Most of us share the time together in our families. Let's be safe out there and and get your flu vaccine if you haven't gotten it. So with that, motion to adjourn and happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
I move adjourn.
Second.
Any comments, questions, or concerns? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody. God bless.
Have happy and safe holidays.
Oh, because she's the one that I'm always emailing back and forth. Yeah, I would like to make well, I'm really sorry. I'm not sure.
Yes, sir. No. Go ahead.
Ms. Gutierrez, do you have a number I can call you at, Ms. Gutierrez?
Like she was more a little bit.